we're able to log in. And if it's your first time, we're going to go through a series of warm-up exercises. We have a pretty big following right now. We've actually built a community of people learning the Tai Chi Paradigm for Parkinson's. It's the standard procedure that I teach, all of the people that are learning Tai Chi and the Tai Chi Paradigm. So the format is very similar. The content and the explanations and the objectives, slightly different because it depends on, your goals. And because Parkinson's is a motor skill disorder, we want to focus on how to build coordination and work with our system to build better motor skill and better coordination. And then understanding how important it is to shift the weight, how important it is to keep the body as relaxed as possible, take out some of the stiffness and tension that the body innately puts in there from being stressed or being, have anxiety about certain things. And I know some people that have been newly diagnosed, they're stressed by that, and that's understandable. But, we can work with the movements, and this is hopefully one of the ways to prevent the progression of the disorder, and hopefully we can help you in that way. So everything that we're doing is related to motor skill and movement, and we can benefit from it regardless of you have problems or not. So if you're just newly diagnosed, you're probably not having a whole lot of issues, but the thing is, learn how to control that through the consciousness of the mind and the body, and learn how the body kind of functions and how we can improve our movements simply by doing it. When we do movements over and over again because we're creatures of habit, eventually your body will start to recognize the difference. So a lot of it is posturing, standing in a good vertical position, standing in a shoulder width position, standing in a position like this. There's advantages and disadvantages of the different positions you start from, and that's really depending on what is going to follow up. So I can go over some of that, in a little while, but we start off in a shoulder width stance, and the hands are up like this, and we're going to turn the waist. 1, 2, 3, and we turn the other way. 1, 2, 3, and we turn the other way. So we're really trying to get some freedom of rotation in the spine. We want to turn the spine. 1, 2, 3, and it's not forceful. It's just creating a motion going from right to left. Okay. Now we're going to go from side to side by going in this direction. And this is mirror image. The fingertips are facing that way, so we all going in that direction, and we're all going in the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, hands on your waist, and hands on by the side of your leg. We're going to go straight up like this, and then bend down and relax. Stretch as far as you can. You might feel a little stiffness. Let it go. Turn to the right. Turn to the left. Now this mirror image, so when I go to my left, you go to your right. When I go to my right, you go to your left. Then once we're back to center, we turn the palms up and we press down. Now when we turn the palms up, we're going to inhale when we go up. Exhale when it goes down. So how do you remember that? When you inhale, you're lifting up and you feel like you're going up lighter as you go up. Exhale, heavier as you go down. So sinking gives you what we call a settling, and your center of gravity feels like it's lower. So it's good for stabilization and feeling sort of more grounded. All right. Now we got our hands on our waist, and we're going to make a few circles. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 2. Okay, now we're going to go the other way. 1, 2. So we're making a circle, and you can imagine yourself standing in a cylinder, and you're trying to connect to the sides. So I do is kind of trace this circle, leave the neck in its position, relax here, the head stays pretty still. Your feet obviously are not moving, so your ankle is what has to allow that to happen. So when we work from the ankle up, it allows us to move from side to side. So when we shift our weight and we move our body from side to side, that's what's going to happen. Now, if you hold yourself rigid and you can't move, then you have to at least attempt to trace that circle. You know, it's really a mindful, it's mind over matter. Get your body to respond. It might take some practice and some effort if you haven't done anything like this, throughout your career or throughout your lifetime. Making circles with your body, just like, what do you call that thing? The big ring with the hula hoop, and you kind of wiggle like this. Well, that's what you might have done at some point when you were younger, but that's essentially what's happening. But we're not doing it that physically. We're just kind of creating a pattern. In fact, everything that we do should be as relaxed as possible and not a lot of effort. You shouldn't be, breathing hard, and you shouldn't be sweating a lot when you do these exercises, because we're not using a lot of physical force. Okay, we're just using the mind to direct these movements. Now, the next exercise, we're going to cross like this. And we're going to go down and grab the knees, and we're going to go in the direction of the outside hand. And we're going to make a circle. Here again, the ankles are relaxed, and it allows you to maneuver from side to side. Now, we're not moving the upper body. It's pretty stable. It's just really going from the legs. Your hips actually have to be fairly relaxed, though. Okay, now you turn to the other side, go the other direction. So this is the direction we're going in. And center. Okay, good. Hands here. Okay, now we're going to work the head and the neck by turning. Just take it into the direction and then release it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and stop. Okay, back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Tilt to the side. Feel like your ear is heading towards your shoulder. So that's keeping it level and tracking like that. So you can feel it in here, here. Actually, all of this upper area, you should feel a little bit of releasing. So those are, as you go through, actually, your whole body is actually responding to those movements. You may not be sensitive enough at the early stages to realize your body is actually going through this whole process. Now we're going to bend down, make a couple of circles. 2, 3. Now we go to the other direction. 1, 2, and 3. Center. Hands up. Pull in. We're going to pull toward the face. Elbows go out, and we go out to the side and down. Elbows like this, not pointing down. Elbows out to the side, up on your toes, and down. Now we're going to inhale through the nose, tongue touching the roof of your mouth. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now let's spread the feet a little. Turn the shoulders again. 1. Now we're going to keep the shoulders relaxed so that they kind of just swing and wrap around your body so that we can get the body to feel loose. Go from side to side. So it does take a little control to let the waist turn to here, and then it kind of springs back. So you're kind of winding up your back and then let it wind, and then it just goes back and forth. So just balancing the movement from side to side, from right to left. Okay, good. And shake that out. Okay, let the legs go a little bit, shake it out. Okay. Now, let's put our heels together like this. That's 90 degrees. You look down, you see that. Okay. Now, if you notice, just for instance, how your body compensates for a position. If our feet are 90 degrees like this, and I tell you to look down, what happens? Your butt actually goes out. So look at from the side view, what happens? You see how the body does that? When it goes out, why? Because our center of gravity has to be here. That's your center of mass. If you go out like this, or you didn't do that, then you'd topple over. So the fact that when you bend, your body compensates for position is part of proprioception. It's part of how your body responds to a position in space. Now, if you hold this like this and you're really rigid, you might be able to get it down so far without going back, but it's almost impossible to do unless you're so flexible and you have such control of the body, but it's not really a natural thing to do that. So the tendency for even people that are walking with the body slightly tilted forward, then your tendency is going to take you to the ground. You're going to fall forward. So the important thing is to stand erect with the hip not tucked completely to lock it, but get it so that your tailbone is more vertical and the chin is in, so you're in a vertical position. Now when the hands are here, so right from the get-go, we have to build vertical posture. So whether it's the warm-ups from here to here, or standing in a shoulder-width position, or in a 90-degree position, we want the body to be vertical and plumb. You know, like you drop the plumb bob through the top of the head, there should be a straight line all the way through. Okay, now when we're here, we pivot and pivot. Okay, so pivoting and pivoting, just pivoting on the ball of each foot, one at a time, it might take you a little bit of thinking when you go through this, but this is actually what we do as a drill. When you're like this and you have a little trouble pivoting because the weight is evenly distributed, you have a little trouble trying to figure out how to move that foot. Well, if you shift a little bit and bring that knee out, you're going to be able to do that. While that's out there, you go like this. Now when I shift and I bring my knee out and then pivot, it gives you the awareness that to get to the ball of the foot, you can either just think about doing that without very little shifting of the knee, or bring it way out first and then get control of that. And that even might be a little difficult for some people that can't control that center. So you have to practice. If you have trouble with the hands on the hip, you may be the back of a sofa, or if you had a chair next to you, or there's a counter, you can practice just feeling what it's like to sway a little bit from side to side to get the feet to move. So this is the triangular position. You can look down and your body would do that. and you can see that the feet from a 90-degree angle right where the heels meet. Then when we square the feet, now they're both essentially parallel to the front. So the toe points to the front. Now if I do this, you see what I did was I kicked the heel out and I turn in this direction. Then we're going to go forward and back. So this is important to shift your weight from forward to back. Okay. So where does this weight have to go? The knee tracks over the front foot and lines up with the toe. Then this goes back. Now when we go back, this knee has to bend, and then this knee has to straighten, and then you do the opposite. All right. So this is really learning to control your stance, and this is called the Taichi Stance. It's an empty stance, which is this, meaning the front foot is empty. It's also known as a sitting stance, because you're sitting into that back leg. And then this is the forward stance, or the archer stance, or archery stance. The archer stance is, one of the stances when they used to shoot the arrows, the bow and arrows, draw the bow and shoot. So they would sit back and then let it go. So draw the bow. So you can see when you simulate the movement, you see a posture. Okay. So a lot of movements are really that relation of interaction where the hands go together. So here I go forward and back. Turn. So this is a cycle. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So that's taking us 180 degrees from side to side, passing through center into the square position, go forward and back, back to center into the square position, and then we turn into this direction. Okay, good. Shake it out. So one of the things that I focused on was pivoting the feet and shifting a weight. So really, that's really going to take you in a direction. I mentioned in one of the classes that when you pivot on the heel, you form a T stance, which is 90 degrees to here. And if I turn like this, I made a 90-degree turn, and I'm going to head in this direction. If I turn back like this, and I'm back to a square position, that will take me turning left. Okay. Now, if I shift my weight and I turn this way, it's going to take me over there. If I turn like this, it's going to take me back into this direction. So the side of the foot that's closest to the side that you want to turn to is the side you pivot. Now, if you're having a little trouble pivoting, it's because you probably have weight on it. You can't pivot the weighted foot. You have to pivot the unweighted foot. So you might have to lean back a little and do that, and then bring the weight back before you straighten this foot. Okay. So this type of maneuver does take some coordination, or at least a mindfulness of what I have to do. So how do you improve that? You improve that by doing that. That's the only way. I call specificity of training. When you do something over and over, especially something that requires movement and a skill, a motor skill, you have to work that movement over and over again until it's kind of programmed into your system so that you know automatically kind of what should happen. Now, some of the things that you take for granted because, you didn't really pay attention to it when you were learning it and you just did it, then this is one of those things that now you have to pay attention to how we do that, so that what ends up happening is you're actually learning it. You're programming it and then consciously trying to figure that out. And that becomes something that very important because when you get to a point where the body kind of freezes and doesn't know what to do, then you resort back to something you've learned. and then you use that as a strategy to move more efficiently, or even just a simple thing like turning the corner. So when we walk forward, now here's where we speak of the shoulder width and bringing the foot next to the other foot, or close to the other foot. When we shift over, there's a point where you can bring your foot over when this leg is carrying most of your weight. It takes on the predominance of the weight. At the same time, at this point, it became 100% zero. We got that idea? When we shift over, still I have some weight here. This is most of the weight. Predominance of the weight is here. Until I feel like I can move that foot. That little transition from the one foot going to the none next to it, I became 100% zero. 100% zero. That's what has to happen when you take your step. Now, when we get to this position, when it's 100% zero, that's when you can take your first step. Then when you shift and it's 100% zero, you take your second step. Okay. So while sometimes they measure your walking to see how fast you can get to point A to point B, when we do this, we're doing it slowly to heighten the sensitivity and awareness of the position so that we can build a real sequence of events, so that when we program this into our body, we start to realize, and we're much more aware of how to control our center of mass by bringing our foot over each leg. So that's called the substantial leg that has weight. The insubstantial leg, insubstantial meaning that it's the one that doesn't have weight. Insubstantial because that's the one's going to take the next step. And when you step, it's the heel and then the toe. The heel and then the toe. So that's a relationship. So when we walk, or sort of rocking back and forth is really basically what's happening as we kind of shift weight forward and back. And then when we shift it forward and sustain it for a split second, we can take that next step. Okay. So what has to happen, you have to soften your legs, soften the legs, soften the feet, and then you become much more stable and rooted. You know, you're not walking on a set of stilts, and you're not walking like you're on clogs where they're very hard and stiff. It would be very difficult to sustain balance. So we want to walk as if our feet are pliable and have the ability to absorb and sense where that next step is going. So that's part of training a feeling, and also get your body to respond, you know, in a different way. We're not rushing to get to there. You know, if you are just running, for instance, or jogging, it's not going to help your walking per se, because you're moving through it too fast. When we work slowly like this, we're really heightening our awareness and sensitivity. Now, the thing is, don't tilt the head. Don't look at your feet. You have to stay as erect as possible and look up forward and let the lower half of your body feel like it's in control. So that's all you have to do, is you have to take a few steps backwards, a few steps forward. You move to the side and you shift. You move to the side and you shift. So that's why, you know, any type of these skills that are prescribed for Parkinson's is either, you know, something that requires footwork, like boxing, like ballroom dancing, like what we do in Tai Chi. The difference is that, you know, it takes a long time to be a great ballroom dancer. And I think boxing sometimes is a little bit too physical for some individuals that are not in great shape or hasn't done a lot of that. And, you know, sometimes impact is not so great for the, you know, for the appendages. If you're not conditioned and used to it, you can maybe hurt yourself. So with this, we're really doing virtual motion. You can imagine what we're doing. So when we go like this and we shift our weight and we carry our position so we can get into a position and find stability. We're not using anything other than our sensory system, our mind, our consciousness of position to go across, and then do this when we lift the leg. This is called the golden cockerel stands on one leg. So this is really a rooster standing on one leg. So sometimes we have these images of what a chicken would look like standing on one leg. And that's the name of that particular movement. Okay, now going from there, I'm going to turn. We're going to do the upper body and lower body relationship. Okay, so we have right here, right and left. Right, forward, left, forward. Okay, now if I take a step, I have my left. Okay, I have my left. I have my left. Okay, now once I do that, I'm going to take my right. So that's walking forward. And if we pass through center and then control that center, we're going to actually do simulating walking without moving. So what we're doing is building a counterbalance action where the body is counteracting, whether it's the arm or leg, as a relationship. Okay, so I'll step back a little and we're going to do the same thing on the left side. We're going to take a step. Then we're going to take a step and take a step. Okay, so that's how you should be walking, moving the arms. You don't want to walk with your arms stiff like this because the upper body becomes rigid. You need to move your back, your spine, and you need to move your torso so that you can get a little bit of a twist, and then you go forward, and then you go back. And you go forward, and you go back. So that twist is actually very important, because if you don't counteract that movement, you're going to lose your space and you lose your center. And you're going to lose your tracking, because if my target is the front and my arms are going like this, I'm not going to be able to get there without waddling. If you're waddling, how do you control your center of mass once it becomes excessive? You can't. So you want to keep it like this. So keep everything tracking in the same direction. And then you'll have a truer understanding of that relationship. Your eyes actually will take you in a direction. That's why you don't want to do that. You don't want to lean forward looking down at the floor. So this is equal and opposite. And just look ahead, gaze in front of you without looking up. Okay. So, that's very important. And the reason why sometimes you look down is because of insecurity or a little bit fear of stumbling. But looking down is going to take you in that direction. So look forward, and it's going to take you in that direction without any lean. Take the leaning out of your forward movement. Unless you're, like if you're running very fast, the tendency is probably to lean, but you're actually moving quickly and you're really catching up into the forward position, and your lean actually will allow you to run faster. But in walking, you don't want to lean. What that does is just lead you in the wrong direction. And, it could be catastrophic if that's what's going to happen, because then your body will respond and you won't have a good response time because the body is too stiff and rigid. Okay, so when we're moving, we want to keep some suppleness in the legs, and we want to get the hands and legs working. So whether you're walking or moving backwards, there's that relationship that we have to build. Okay. So that relationship, backwards a little bit trickier, but the forward movement is something we can work on. Now we'll go to side, right? So we're here. This is just moving your foot in and then out, but we're not going to put any weight over here. We're not doing this. We're doing this and then this. Out and then in. So one leg goes that way, the hands go the opposite way. If this leg goes that way, then it comes back. So they merge in the middle. You see, there's out and in, out and in, out and in, out and in, out and in. So you notice when I'm reaching, this becomes one line. This becomes one line. You can see that there's an alignment there, and that's where your center is, and that's the supporting leg. That's the substantial leg. So we did, say, a few more, say 3 or 4 more, we can see that we can keep that center. Now we're going to do the other side a few times. Now you notice my foot actually doesn't have to touch the ground, and it could be just a millimeter off the floor, or even say a 1/16 of an inch off the floor, and you can almost scrape the floor when you do that because it doesn't have weight. It's just sort of airborne without actually, so it's leaving an air space that's minimal. Okay. All right, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Remember, breathe through your nose and exhale through your nose. Now we're going to do a silk reeling exercise, which is really this forward and back movement. So the feet is kind of parallel, or they are like this in that direction, and the body is going to go forward and back. Okay, now we're going to go back to this position, hold the ball, and go forward and back. So this is silk reeling. Now your hands and your legs are working together. Okay, now I'm going to slow it down, get back to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back. 1, 2, so you're like this, 3, and 4, and 5. Now look at this, we're here and here. So this is essentially hold the ball. When this front hand, the bottom hand, comes up, you start to move forward, and then the inside hand drops down, and then you end up finishing the movement here. So when I get to here, you notice my hand is moving from here to here, but it's not moving because I'm doing that. That becomes reaching, it becomes excessive, and you can see when I exaggerate the movement that that's how it starts to look. But if I relax and I go like this, it's moving, but yet it's not really moving. See? So that's actually what I would call a passive motion, and a passive motion happens as a function of something else. So the function of the movement really is driven by my legs and my torso when it's turning. So that's what we have to learn, to use the passive strength, and that way the movement is driven by something else. And that's really another piece of your component or your body. So in this case, it would be your legs. And then if I go from right to left, it would be your torso turning. And as simple as that sounds, or as obvious as it may sound, it's not obvious. In fact, the body doesn't really understand that. Until you do that and bring that concept in for a while, then your body starts to understand that principle. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, good. So now we're going to cross the forearms. So which one is in the front? The one that's on the side that's out. Okay, so this is in the front. This foot is in the front. And we open. And we open. So this is called opening and closing. So you expand the movement and contract, expand the movement and contract. Now we're going to do the other side. This is on the right side, right foot forward, right side out, put the left hand on the inside, and we open. And you see it's opening to the side, and we have a position like this. So both hands are facing the same direction. Fingertips are to the front, and we cross. And the hands are facing side to side. And we open. Then we cross. Okay. Next, we're going to do the preparation movement, which is preparing for the form. And that's a circular movement. Arms are parallel. They're working in pairs, and then we're going to drop the knees a little bit or fold the knees. Remember, relax the ankles and the hips. Okay, next we're going to do some of the standing positions. There's 5 of those that we work on. It's the 5, sort of the geometry position, circular movement, or lower hoop. Okay, so we had the shoulder height one in the beginning when we first did the warm-ups. This is the lower hoop. Okay, the middle hoop about shoulder height. That's 2. 3 is elbow down. This is hollowing the palm. The palm is rounded here. That's 3. Clear your thoughts. Breathe through your nose. Tongue touching the roof of your mouth. And lower. Now we straighten the arms, palms facing down, straighten the knees, lift the back, chin tucked in slightly. Now extend. Fingertips pointing down. Okay, hands up. Deep breathing. Exhale. In the nose. Out with the nose. Up on your toes. One more time. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Up on your toes. Exhale on the way down. Okay, good. Okay, now we're going to do a set of movements similar to this. This is 2 circles. Then we're going to reverse. And center. Now we're going to do the palms down movement. There's going to be a bigger circle. It's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and way up. 1, 2, and way up. Try again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. So this is really a big circle. You have to relax the shoulder. This whole area has to be freed up so you can get the arm as close as possible. So actually, when you lift your arm, this is about the extent of the lift until you release the rest of this to let it go up. So you can actually get it up higher. If your shoulder's tight and this is tight, this is about as high as you're going to go before it starts to strain and jam up, because it's not designed to move beyond a certain point. So that's why with multiple joint positions, it allows you to increase the range of motion and make a movement that would be somewhat awkward to be more natural and efficient, because it's a blending of the joints that create a motion. You know, just like your wrist, when you form the fist, you can't really do much with the wrist because it's not, the range of motion is not as big as it could be. So the only way to create the motion is to maneuver the elbows and the shoulder. Okay, so now let's go to this position. Okay, and we're talking about this. Now I'm going to do one side and then the other side, and we're going to go from side to side. So this is the cloud hand movements, and we're going to do a shift and move that foot over. We're going to step out and turn and shift and bring this foot to here. So these are taking some of the movements that we know and some of the concept that we've been working on to build this integration and feeling of the hands and the legs moving together. So we're filling this side, we're emptying and filling this side. And then if I fill my right and then move my left, that's my unweighted leg. When I fill that and I have to move this one, that's my unweighted leg. Got to fill it and I move my unweighted leg. So you can see there's logic and there's also a method to the sort of the madness. When we shift and we check our weight, we don't have any other options. We're going to go in and we go out. We go in and we go out. Now, when we want to change the option, we have to recalibrate the position and then stop moving again to the side. So then this right leg becomes the dominant leg in the substantial position so that we can move in that direction. If I want to move that direction, I have to make this side the dominant or substantial position and then move. And then move. So essentially I'm bringing my weight from one side to the other and constantly stabilizing this and this. So that's it's a good drill to work with to get your body to recognize kind of that building of a relationship in the body. And the relationship is in the right and the left kind of go hand in hand. So when we do that, we have a lot of little drills that we do. So when we're in the lower hold position, like we're doing the 5 positions, and let's just review that. There's 1, 2, and 3. Those are the 3 positions with the knee slightly bent. And then when we go down like this, when the arms are kind of straight, the legs will straighten, then the torso should straighten. So there's the 3 straightened movements. You're up on the vertical position, not locking the knees, but extended. Then when we do the 5th one, it's the same. So you're kind of in the torso and the legs are in the same position. You kind of thrust down and lift from the top, and you kind of get your body to kind of align its positions and heightening the ligaments and tendons awareness so that you know that we have to line these joints into it to create good posturing. Okay? So from there, we're going to do the carry tiger to the mountain. So this is an important motion because it has the upper circle or the upper hoop and the palms out. This is stork flaps wing position, and we're going to have the cross hand position. So cross hands could be any variations of these. Okay. And then lower hoop. That's your circle. And then palm down. So that's like preparation. Now it's a posture. Okay. When we're in a standing position like this, that's how we start off, and then we turn. So that's kind of the concepts of holding position, because over time your body develops an awareness and also how much strength you should be using and maintaining this vertical position. So in the body, the proprioceptive senses will start to pick up on that position, but it's also creating an image. The image is what the body form looks like, right? So now let's bring the hands together, and we're going to do the infinity sign. So it's like this. It's going out and in. So it's going out and in, out and in. So it's like waving your hands from side to side. It's like how a conductor kind of conducts a symphony. He or she, depending on who it is, just bringing hands out, then you're bringing hands in, you're bringing it out and in to get a feeling and a pattern that the elbow goes up and down. So it's multidimensional, but you're moving all these components, and it's gentle and it's soft, and it builds direction, right and left. Now forming the fist is this. We're going to make a fist, but roll the fingers in and grasp and punch. So what we're building is a motion. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Both of them working together gives it some support that each side is doing the same movement, and we get a sense of building the balance in the two sides. Because in the form, we really only form the fist on one side, and we punch only on the one side. We have divert and block only on the one side as well. When we do the drill, it's doing both sides. Okay, now next, we're going to bring the palms together, form strum the lute position. The strum the lute position is vertical elbow, it's neutral elbow, neutral position, okay? And you can see that it's a triangle. It's a triangular position. Vertical, okay? Strum the lute, okay? And then vertical and neutral becomes just a place to start from, okay? So we're here, round out, that's rounding out, vertical to rounding out, switching sides, which is this, one hand replacing the other, then we do a thumbs up and we flip. So flipping is a relationship. And get the center. Now we're going to go to the other side and we flip. Okay, good. So that's something you're familiar with. Important is relax the shoulders on both sides, right? Okay, next. Okay, now this movement is carry tiger to the mountain. Okay. We're going to bring the palms together and turn, draw the bow. So these are more, or they appear to be more linear or more elongated. So you see the alignment? Not this, but this. Not this. Don't go. Just draw from the elbow. Pull from the elbow. Draw from the elbow. Go through your center. And you go through your center. Okay, next we're going to pan out the legs like this and fan through the back. So we're just making a circle. Now lift the elbows up and open. So we have a right side and we have a left side. On the right side, it's on top. On the left side, it's on top. And then we open. Okay, so this is really just a fluid movement. You're actually working your chest, this shoulder girdle, and you're actually lifting the back and then letting it go. So you're really trying to get all of this area that's kind of tight from, holding it, or just gravity acting on you so everything feels like it's compressed. So we want to lift it up, expand, and then tie it to your movement. Okay, so those essentially the exercises, and we have one more that's like this. It's lifting of the hand. This is raise the hand. Okay, and let's bring it down. Okay, shake it out. Deep breathing again. So anyone who's kind of just tuning in or following, you might say, well, why do we need to do all those exercises? Why? Well, because, why do we have this body and all these muscles and bones and joints? We have them because they are designed to move. And if you only move some parts of your body and not other parts of your body, then there's a breakdown. If it's a motor skill and it's connected to the mind-body relationship and it's a program that you've taught your body how to do a certain movement, then you have to teach your whole body to move. And is it important to get the whole body moving? It's important to get good circulation, complete circulation. So the only way is to move our body completely. And, there's so much more that we can do to add on to what we're doing. But this is the essence of how we're moving our body. And we have to move from the sole of our feet to the top of our head in order to build, minute or at least transitional type things. So we utilize our musculature the way it was designed to move. We're not using a lot of, strength, and we're not using weights or anything like that other than your own body. So it's very simple to do as far as what you need as a space and what you need for clothing or what you need to have as implements. You don't need anything. You just need time and effort. That's it. You just have to put yourself into that mode, and you have to just do those movements, and the movements themselves will get everything to work. Your breath is involved, your movements are tied to that, relaxation is involved, there's a mindfulness that's involved, clearing the thoughts, focusing, all of these things are part of a training. You're working through this so that your body will start to understand. And if it's difficult for you now, it's because it's all new. But if you go through the first phase of these exercises a few times, it starts to get easier and easier and easier, and because you start to recognize. What is recognition? It's identifying. Identifying what? Identifying a specific group of movements, identifying a space, identifying a posture, identifying what the motion's pattern is. Is it a circle? Is it a square? Is it elongated? Is it going up? Is it going down? All of the directions that we go into, or at least in this phase of it, we wouldn't be able to get into those directional type things if the musculature didn't allow us to do that. So there is right and left. There is forward and back. forward and back. There is behind us, and so our limbs really go in those directions. So why not take them in those directions? Because if everything is in front of us and we don't balance it with what happens behind us, then there's something that's going to be deficient. So, we work every group of muscle, even though we're not actually working to build specifically strength for resistance. We're building motion because that's how we move. We don't really walk around with 10 pounds in our forearms and we walk around like this because we want our arms to be able to swing. We carry things, different times of the day, but we don't carry things around all day long. The only thing we carry around with us is our mind, and if you carry it with a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, then it's a good time to break the monotony of that and actually try to get out of that mold, because that's not really good. You can get depressed, you can get stuck in those conditions, and to avoid that, you have to keep busy. You have to do something. The human is designed to be productive and to move. So you have to get out of a state of, sort of dormant or inactive state and kind of activate your body and motivate yourself to be able to do this. So, the most motivating part of it is learning to move and learning to become balanced. That will build confidence and it'll build understanding. So now when we're here, I like to do this circle that's clockwise and then go backwards, counterclockwise. So everything that we're doing is circular movements, utilizing our joints driven by the director. And who's the director? The director is your brain, and the brain will tell you that this is what you want to do. I'm just sort of giving you the idea that this is what you should be doing. So when we walk forward, we want to go right, left, right. So we make one big circle for 3 steps. Do we have that? 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's 3 steps forward, all right? 1, 2, 3. That's one circle. Now, if we go backwards, going counterclockwise, we go 1, 2, 3. Now, when we go backwards, we go 1, 2, 3. So there's one circle going backwards, 1, 2, 3, and one circle going forward, 2, 3, and then we're going to do it again, 1, 2, 3, and go forward, 1, 2, 3, and go backwards, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that goes forward and back. If we go to the sides, we're going to go with the cloud hands, which is this. We'll go to this side, and to this side, to this side, and to this side. Then if we wanted to go 3 steps that way, we would go 1, 2, 3. And we wanted to go the other way back again, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's a lot of information, but then those 3 drills, or those 2 drills, sidestepping, forward and backward walking is a great thing to do. The 5 positions holding is a great exercise to do, just because they're simple enough for you to work with without going through memorizing all of these different exercises. And remember, all of this stuff is archived. It's on YouTube. You can subscribe to YouTube and it'll come up on your website. You can go through the Parkinson Foundation to find the site, but if you go to YouTube, it's all there. If you subscribe, it kind of knows you. It's pretty smart out there getting that technology to work. And if you subscribe, give us a like, and that actually will tune you in. And our videos will always show up for you. And the thing is, there's so many videos. I've lost count how many is on there. But you look for the Tai Chi for Parkinson's, and there's a lot of different information on each one of these videos, because I do this live, and none of this is scripted, so I don't even know what I said in the last class or whatever, unless I'm really thinking back. But the thing is, in these classes, I address different issues or different things in relationship to our training, our exercise, and what I think you may need when it comes to mine, as I go through it. So that's why it's important to not just do this video and revisit it, but look at the other ones, because there might be something there of value to you that you might be thinking about or having a little trouble with, because that's really the important part of it. You get to see and answer all the questions that might be running through your head, and not being able to communicate directly. I really can't see you other than the people that study with me when the school is open. Right now the school's closed, so hopefully anyone that's here, like Charlie, I hope you're doing the exercises, because when you come back, we want to see how agile you are on your feet. And there's Evelyn and a whole bunch of other people out there. So this is sort of like the old romper room. Back in the day, I can see the different people following, like Dorothy and so forth. But if you haven't been doing it, I wouldn't know anyways. So hopefully that's helpful. Give us a thumbs up, like I said, on YouTube. Subscribe. We're going to do this again next Tuesday and Thursday, Saturday. You can, from today on, you can just go to the archive videos. And on that note, I'll see you next time.